All right, this is day 3 of verifying identities. So just one last day of kind of putting some stuff together, seeing what we come up with. First problem, I'm just going to fence that down. I do notice that I have 4 different trig functions. That's not entirely helpful. Nothing is squared, which is also kind of tricky since I'm not one of the identities. So what I'm going to do is just switch them all into sines and cosines, hoping that will help. So I've got a sine theta, cosine theta, and then cotangent is cosine over sine. Cosecant is 1 over sine as well. So now I've got this plus sine. I've got 2 different terms here. I've still got the sine theta plus, when you are multiplying fractions, remember that you just multiply across. So this will be cosine squared, and that will be over sine. So looking at 2 fractions here, I could put this over a 1 if that helps. So we need common denominators. The fastest way to a common denominator is just to multiply. So 1 times sine is just sine. This denominator needed that sine, so the top gets that sine as well. So this will be sine squared. And then this one didn't need anything, so you just have that cosine squared there. This is one of our identities, so on our card, if you look, sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So I'm just going to take all that stuff out and write 1 over sine, which is the same as the other side. One last one to do. I've got 2 fractions on the left. Here is my fence, so separated by subtraction, so I got these 2 terms. They're both fractions, so I'm going to need a common denominator. Fastest way to a common denominator is just to multiply the bottoms. So I'm going to have a secant x minus 1 and a secant x plus 1. This fraction needed the secant x plus 1, so I'm going to put that on top. And then minus... Oops, and without an arrow, just a minus sign. And then this denominator is coming up here, so secant x minus 1. I'll do a little distributing on top, so I've got secant x plus 1 minus secant x plus 1. All over. Those down there, I'm going to actually FOIL that out. I can tell that they're conjugates. One's a minus, one's a plus, which tells me stuff's going to cancel. So I'm going to actually get secant squared minus 1. That's kind of nice because I know that's an identity. I didn't do anything over here yet. I'll leave that. Let's see where this side ends up. I do have a secant and then a minus secant, so those are gone. And then I have 1 plus 1, so I just have a 2 up there. Secant squared minus 1 coming over to my card. We already did that in a previous video, so secant squared minus 1, if I rearrange this, would just be tangent squared. So I'm going to put tan squared down here, x, and that's actually what that will be. Cotangent is just 1 over tan squared. So if you wanted to write that out, you could write 2 times cotangent, and you could do 2 times 1 over tangent. So it's just 2 over that tangent squared. So just a couple of 2 problems today. One where we just switched them all into sines and cosines, and the other one where we had to find a common denominator.